Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Real Talk on the WCOBM network. I'm Melissa Wiggins, your host, and I am here today with a very special guest. His name is John Paul Bouvier. If I got that correct,
Pretty
I hope I
close.
did.
Pretty
Pretty close. And he is so extremely accomplished. He is a former professional ballroom dancer, and he's also had over 15 years' experience being a physical fitness trainer. So we welcome him to our studio today.
Delighted to be here, Melissa.
Thank you
It's
for
great
being
to-
here, John. It's
Thank
a pleasure.
You. Thank you.
Tell
This
our
is
viewers
great.
a little bit about your background. I had the pleasure of reviewing your website, and you have a very extensive resume. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely. I was a scoliosis. I had severe scoliosis growing up, and I was told at a young age that I wouldn't walk or perform normally in life. And I developed exercise programs for myself to get myself in shape, and was able to parlay that into taking care of myself, and then was able to get into being a ballroom dancer, which I'd wanted to do because when I was growing up, Gene Kelly and Fred Astaire were my idols. And the reason is because they always got the girl.
Okay, that's a
really
good
the reason. I got the
reason.
girl in the end. And I thought if I could be a
Whatever
guy who
gets
could,
you there.
whatever gets me there, right. I figured if I could be a guy who could dance, maybe I could get the girl. And I got the girl.
Okay,
So I
great.
got lucky. And I have two wonderful kids and two dogs and two cats. So I have quite the family. And then I was able to parlay that into ballroom dancing. And then some friends of mine were working and asking me if I could help them physically do physical fitness things. And I did. And then I parlayed that into working with older adults. So I specialized in working with adults who are 80 to 100 years old.
What do you think the adult special needs are?
I think the most, that's a very good question. The most important thing that older adults need to understand, and really in today's world, that's not necessarily chronological in age, it's really habitual in age. If you're a person who sits at a desk, or you're in the car a lot, or you're on the, she's nodding her
That's
head.
most of us.
and you're on the phone a lot and you're doing things. Well, what happens is anybody who's out of school, we develop bad habits. The thing that adults need to most understand is that when you take control of the habits of your body and understand what your body is doing when you're doing what it is you're doing, you can start to get your health back. For instance, if my shoulders are really tight, if I have a habit of having really tight shoulders and I'm bent over and I'm on the keyboard or I'm in the car or I'm on the phone, you eventually wake up that way. You go to sleep and you wake up and your shoulders
Been
are
there,
tight,
done that.
And then eventually your shoulders don't relax and you get up and they do this and this becomes this, becomes this, becomes this, becomes this. So if you take all those habits with you when you exercise, because exercise is a physical fitness activity, if you take tight shoulders with you when you exercise, you will reinforce tight shoulders.
I see.
So what most adults do, and here's where they get themselves in trouble, is we go and exercise and think that we're going to help ourselves, and in fact we're recreating and reinforcing the very habits that got us in trouble in the first place.
So you have to know how to exercise. There's a right way to
There's
do it.
a right way to do it. So the good news is this, dear viewers, here on this wonderful radio show. You can take care of your body. Pay attention to what your body is telling you first. Our whole society is, we're reinforced to not listen to our body. And we're reinforced to stay a little longer at work and we'll give you a bigger paycheck and that kind of thing. So the trick is pay more attention to your body as opposed to not listening to your body. We tend to numb out to get the job done.
Right.
And that becomes a habit. And then all of a sudden the doctor's saying you're stressed out, you need to relax. And we say, well, I don't think I need to relax. And then you go on vacation. And you
True.
come back and you go, I didn't realize how stressed I was.
Right.
So we educate the youth out of ourselves. You start to be aware of your body, mindfulness, meditation, eating well, rolling your shoulders around. There's 1,000 different things you can do, but that's where you start.
We talked a little bit about if it's ever too late to get started. What advice would you give to someone who's in that mindset that it's a little too late for them?
It's not true. It's never, ever too late. My specialty in working with older adults is 80 to 100 years old. This is where I've been working for the last 20 years. And we've turned all that in at the Wizard of Youth company, wizardofyouth.com, shameless plug, back to children with the understanding that if you know how to take care of your body like you learn how to take care of your teeth, as you get older, you keep your teeth, you keep your health. It's never too late, and it can feel that way, and I mean that quite literally. It can feel that way. You can actually feel really bad, but just like if you watch a good comedy and you laugh, you feel better when it's done.
Absolutely.
It's kind of the same thing with exercise. You feel better afterwards. You feel more energetic afterwards. You don't always feel good. So if I was to give you a piece of advice, or you take one thing away from this, give yourself permission to not feel good, and then go and do it anyway.
That's good advice.
Thank you.
Talk about Real Talk Youth Impact Program. When did you first meet Cherie Cornell, who's the executive director of the program, and how are you currently involved, if you are involved in the program?
I am involved in the program in knowing what it is they do, but this tonight with our talk down at the center there, it'll be my first official one, and I've gone through her, through Farmer Jen, one of the local organic farmers here in Vegas. And so I'm not terribly familiar with what she does, other than I'm a big fan of the not-for-profits that take care of the children, which is just amazing. We have a not-for-profit ourselves, and we take care of schools with exercise equipment, another side of what we do. At fitnessforcharity.org, another shameless plug. If you guys need exercise equipment of some kind, we take old, used exercise equipment that people no longer need, and we re-gift it to those that need it. So we act as the intermediary. So there's never a charge. If you have a group and you need something, schools and such. And that is how we're all connected together on that side. We came in through the not-for-profit side and helping children, as opposed to coming in from the exercise side, which I'm talking to you now.
You're also an author.
I'm an
and
author.
I saw something on your website concerning a board game. Talk about that.
The Wizard of Youth board game. I wrote a book called The Wizard of Youth for older adults that taught them how to do all the things that they needed to do to stay young. Because that was the one thing I would go and lecture, and older adults would come to me and they'd say, I've got a cousin in Arkansas or Ohio, you pick a state, Midwest, Indiana.
Good
Yes,
state.
those Indiana people. Hint, hint.
Hoosiers.
Yeah, that's right. And they said, can you write this down? So I did. And then my daughter was in class one time and came to me and said, Daddy, can you come and read your book to my class? And I went and read this book for adults, and the children were really interested. So as I'm reading the book, I started changing the adult characters in the book to children characters.
Okay.
And the kids were looking at it, and they were fascinated. And that's when I thought, like a brick, if children learned how to take care of themselves when they're children, they wouldn't have the same health issues we do because they'd know what to do.
Very true.
So I decided to turn that into a board game because I'd been, I prayed about it. Honestly, I prayed and do a board game. I'm like, a board game? Okay. So, and then I didn't want to do it, and I got sick. I got very, very sick. And I drew the board game while I was recovering in bed from like the flu. I was in bed for a week.
Oh my goodness.
So I tried to get up and I couldn't, and the Lord said, do a board game. So as crazy as it sounds, sometimes you got to do what your heart says. I did the board game. We went back to the same schools. We played it. The children loved it, and here we are. Now we just did a TV pilot, so now it's a TV show.
Oh,
possibly
congratulations.
done
That's
our pilot.
great.
Yeah.
That's very great. Well, talk about your contact information. If anyone wants to learn about the Wizard of Youth, where would they go to get that information?
Yes, you would go to wizardofyouth.com, and there's a contact thing there. I think my email is just john@wizardofyouth.com.
Keeping it simple.
Keeping it simple. Or you can go to fitnessforcharity.org, and there's email there. So if you want equipment, if you need something, or if you're going to give away something, you have something in your garage you don't need, and you want to give it to somebody, if we can help, we're more than happy to help.
John, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time, and we'll have to have you back.
Yes, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.